So Thanksgiving just ended. So obviously the thing that's on my mind is gratefulness, being thankful. I just finished a weekend full of love, joy, happiness, and being surrounded by those that I care about, my friends, my family. I reflected on the feeling of gratitude and being thankful for the things that I have. It made me think about how a lot of us don't seem to slow down long enough to recognize what's actually supporting us or what's helping us or getting us through our daily lives. That's where the concept of gratitude comes in. Gratitude isn't the forced feeling of pretending that everything is fine. I think it's important to differentiate gratitude, like genuine, true gratitude, from toxic positivity. My problem with seeing gratitude as just being positive about everything is that it ignores real struggles, real things that may be bothering you or burdening you. Gratitude is a practice, a skill. It's a perspective or a way of seeing clearly, grounding yourself, and finding joys in things that are genuinely good. The whole point of gratitude isn't to erase hardship, but rather to highlight the things that help move your life forward and bring lightness to your life, that bring joy or happiness. Gratitude really is about recognizing the things that are going wrong or maybe are hard on you, but also recognizing the things that help you. It's a widening of your perspective to be grateful for the things that genuinely are helping you. It's to prevent negativity from overtaking your overall perspective on what's happening and what's going on in your life. A key point is that gratitude isn't meant to bypass pain, it's to find balance in a life that seems to be pushing us to be more negative. What I mean by that is it seems like our threshold for negativity and struggle and annoyance and anger is lower than our threshold for for happiness, gratitude, or joy. I'm guilty of this. I have to drive with traffic every day, and even just getting caught in one red light or being stuck behind a particularly slow driver, it can be enough to really mess my mood up. Another instance of that we probably go through every day is like maybe you go to a restaurant or you go to a cafe, you order a drink or food and they take a little bit longer than you want, so you start getting a little annoyed. We allow ourselves to become so upset by these small happenings, yet our threshold to really feel joy seems to be much higher. I don't think it's inaccurate to say that most of us don't name joyous moments or positive moments in our daily lives, nor do we really give ourselves the opportunities to feel those positive moments as we do those negative moments that I just mentioned. There's probably several instances throughout the day where you get a little annoyed. Maybe, like I said, like maybe a coworker or maybe work isn't going so well or it's slow and you're frustrated. But how many times can you say that throughout the day you feel those small joys, those small moments of positivity? It seems like most people don't experience joy unless it's an exceptionally high level of achievement or emotion. Think maybe getting a promotion or winning a competition. It's more often than not if you say you had a good day because you had a meaningful conversation or a good interaction with an individual, or maybe the coffee you made at home tasted particularly good, people would probably kind of laugh or maybe dismiss that and say that's all it takes to feel good or happy about your day. I think it's about finding that balance. Why do we allow ourselves to get so flustered or upset at such small things, somewhat trivial things if you really think about it? Yet, why do we demand greater achievement to feel joy? Doing so denies us the richness of life. How can we really be living through life if we deny ourselves that feeling of that feeling of happiness and being grateful for things that happen in light of the negativity? A story that really highlights this is my own personal story of traveling to Las Vegas in the middle of summer. Following the trip to Vegas, I talked to my friend about how they thought the trip went. I was shocked to hear that they hadn't had a good time. They were bothered by the great heat that we had experienced during the trip. Given that it was the middle of summer, each of the days that we were there in Vegas was well over 100 degrees, with lows in maybe the high 80s. To them, that aspect of the trip was so strong, such that they couldn't overlook it, said that they didn't have a good time at all. I shared what I thought of the trip. And while I remembered how hot it was, I remember being surrounded by my friends, experiencing new things, and being in the company of others, doing things that I wouldn't be able to do by myself, and enjoying their presence and how much that made the experience worthwhile, despite how hot it was. All that to say, despite us having the same trip, the same journey, our experiences and what we took away from it were completely different. Gratitude is about changing how you move through those experiences rather than changing those circumstances. A quote by Alphonse Carr really encapsulates that story. He said, "We can complain because rose bushes have thorns, or rejoice because thorns have roses." Just like his quote demonstrates, it's not about ignoring the things that make life hard, or make us annoyed, or make us upset. It's about acknowledging those very things, yet choosing to focus and divert your energy into the things that make life joyful and bright. Being grateful for those things while not ignoring the same things that make life challenging or difficult. Adopting this perspective and this mindset is a challenge. In my examples before, I said, I'm sure you've experienced similar things, being annoyed at relatively small things, yet not feeling joy in equally small things. But it's important to realize that gratitude isn't a personality trait. It's a skill. It's a new perspective to adopt and to work on. And just like any other skill, gratitude becomes easier and you become better at it with repetition. Our lives are built on repetition. Our lives are built on small actions that slowly build up into big achievements. So over time, you can strengthen it. In practicing gratitude, the key point I'm trying to make is to not let it become toxic positivity, because then at that point you're only looking at the good things and ignoring the bad. A good example of this is when I was preparing for my Thanksgiving weekend with my family. I was annoyed at having to purchase some ingredients and having to drive out to see them. I still think that part kind of sucked, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to go see them and to spend time with them. There are certainly instances of people who aren't able to do that. Maybe they're too far to see their family and they don't want, or they don't have a good family to go back to that they feel safe with. And that leads to my next point. In order to improve that skill of being grateful, it's helpful to name specifically what you are grateful for. It isn't too beneficial to just say, oh, I'm thankful for my life. That's very general. It's more useful to be specific about something that you are grateful for. For example, I'm grateful that my friend checked in on me today. Or another example would be I had an interaction with a coworker today that left me satisfied and connected. Being specific is important because then that makes your gratitude more tangible. It's no longer just a concept. Gratitude doesn't mean that you stop growing. In connection to my last video, being grateful is recognizing the effort that you have made, your achievements thus far, and the growth that you have experienced, or the experiences that you have gathered. You can be grateful and still want more. That's how we improve. That's how we become better people. You can appreciate your progress and still work towards being better. Gratitude is not the enemy of ambition. Gratitude allows you to give yourself the perspective of where you came from and where you're going. I challenge you. Look at your daily life. Recognize those small experiences. Pay attention to them and allow yourself to be grateful. Allow yourself to feel joy and allow yourself to be happy. You've allowed yourself to feel anger or frustration at relatively small things. If you're able to do that, what says that you can't do the same for the opposite, for elation, for joy, for satisfaction? And part of doing that is recognizing the things that you should be grateful for and to identify being thankful. By doing both, you are able to experience a more balanced life, a life that is more enriching. Because who do you think lives a more enriching life? Someone who is constantly trying to look for the highs and feels nothing unless they experience something that triggers adrenaline and needs to be at a 100, or someone who finds joy in small minute interactions and details, someone who can look at the natural beauty of what's going on or the experiences that they can receive from interacting with others. One person is chasing something that they can't always get, and every time they do get it, that threshold becomes higher. Just like taking a drug, they become desensitized to something that they would have gotten joy from or excitement from before. But that mindset denies you the richness of life that we can get from practicing gratitude and recognizing daily positivity. As Brene Brown once said, I don't have to chase extraordinary moments to find happiness. It's right in front of me if I'm paying attention and practicing gratitude.